What is PTRI's story? Our first speaker holds a bachelor's degree in clothing technology from the University of the Philippines in Diliman. She has an extensive experience in the garments sector before she joined government as a program manager of the Garment and Textile Industry Development Office, or GPIDO, under the Department of Trade and Industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back the Director of the Philippine Textile Research Institute, Director Celia B. Elumba.
So, the first thing that people put there was redefining. We can't really redefine it because the law is the law. We cannot go more or less of what it is. It has to be very specific and very exacting, very precise. So we thought of using the word rethinking because when we speak of the Philippine Tropical Fabrics, it really is with the view of how we can mainstream it. And the challenge is that there are not very many people out there who are in a position to produce or to make the supply of the Philippine tropical fabric material, beginning with the yarn. Everything starts with the spun yarn. So the word that I'm now using is rethinking the how-to for mainstream use. So this is an avenue or a vehicle that we are now, this event that we have, is an avenue for us to share with you how we have rethought this particular Philippine tropical fabrics conundrum. And so this is our version 2.0. Yes, please, keep on clicking. Yes. So we show these images because they are basically very iconic or very symbolic of the countries where they are being used. If you see these images, automatically you have an idea of what country they are from. So if I have the next slide, please. When it comes to the Philippines, what comes to mind? Barong Tagalog, Maria Clara, Daterno, but we all know that these are really special occasion wear. These are very special pieces. They are practically 100% handmade. So there is no argument about their special place in our outfitting as far as our own textile developments are concerned. But this is not what we can use as far as our government uniforms are concerned. Do you agree? Medyo gusto ko man, parang wow, masyado yata akong dressed up, palagi akong naka-piñasera and polo barong, right? So the men, no issue, but for the women, wow. So here is RA 9242, which is this particular act that prescribes the use of Philippine tropical fabrics for uniforms of government employees. Next slide, please. The Philippine Tropical Fabric Law basically says that medyo nahihiya ako pag sinasabi ko na itong part na to kasi yung law is really, or the implementing laws and regulations, were really providing for very token 5% abaca, 5% banana, 5% pineapple leaf, or 15% silk. What does it mean? You know, di ba pag majority, ano yung sabihin ng majority? 50 plus 1. So whether it is cheap value or cheap weight, it is really what is more dominant, right? But in the case of Philippine tropical fabrics, para masimulan, they agree that we can use 5%, kahit 5% lang. But did you know that during that period in time, this was already a challenge. Not many could meet the 5%. They were meeting 2%, 3%. It was a very particular challenge. And also that point in time, they were blending this with polyester. Nung araw, okay lang yon because we did not know better. But today, with the UN SDGs or the Sustainable Development Goals, and we're looking at the circularity of the economy, we would like to make sure that we put in more natural components. So while we agree that polyester or any synthetic material has its place, kasi ayaw mo naman palagi kang suot mayaman. Gusot mayaman, which is in linen, di ba? If you're working for government, hindi ka pwedeng gusot or gusot mayaman. So kailangan lagyan mo yung warp mo ng polyester, yung weft mo, ay not necessarily, mas maganda siya kung siya ay completely natural material. Not polyester blended with a natural material, which was the case that was done in the exercise of the first generation PTF materials. Next slide, please. So at the PTRI, we of course would like to go from niche to mainstream. So we have some products that are being featured here that you've already seen in the past, and these are products of different social entrepreneurs who have really been in contact with the PTRI. So from those to distinctive collaborations to new material developments, these are already being undertaken at the Institute. Part of our framework is to go into higher generation ways of extracting polymers or cellulosic materials that can go into a different kind of a textile production process. But before that, we then go into further into developing this into, next slide please, into corporate wear for government uniforms. Uniforms that reflect the character of the agencies that they are being used for. This is towards the promotion of the Philippine Tropical Fabric and at the same time, indigenous weaves or traditional textiles. We have to make a distinction. Not all traditional textiles or traditional fabrics or indigenous weaves are PTF. Because alam nyo ba, yung mga karamihan ng ating mini-weave, ng mga handloom weavers natin, they're not even using anymore natural materials. They're actually using imported synthetic materials, primarily polyester. So meron tayong mga examples na nag-attend sila ng selling exhibition in another country, nung nalaman, it was the buyers were attracted by how beautiful the product looked, by the skill and by the way that the product really was presented. But when they found out, the buyers, when they found out that this is made of 100% polyester, you know, they sold zero. So this is a real life story. And this really is, it drives home the point that the world today is really looking at more green or eco or more environmentally sound ways of helping out everybody, the planet and people alike. So we are looking at corporate wear for government uniforms, and we're very thankful to the DOST-PTRI shirt for helping us to fund this particular program. I'm not sure if our executive director, former executive director CP David has made it, but he was actually one of those who really inspired the making of this particular program or project. If I may have the next slide, please. So we then decided that we crafted the idea, how do we rethink this and do a couple of birds with one stone. So we worked with a number of government agencies, national government agencies, the CSC. Ang Civil Service Commission is like the major HR organization for the entire government service of the system. Then we have the NEDA, National Economic Development Authority. We have the Department of Foreign Affairs, of course the DOST, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the Department of Tourism. So we approached them. We wanted to find out, if we were to do something like this, may we count on your support and on your help. So you can imagine a slew of different meetings and activities that had to be undertaken. And from there, if I may have the next slide, please. We crafted a project that would have two parts to it. Part one was a by invitation with premier or professional fashion designers. Designers who have been in the industry for 20 years. Those who have been really designing and prototyping for mass customized product for corporate wear, whether it's for a bank or for an airline or a restaurant or a hotel, those who have had that experience. And those who therefore are also using, advocating, and are interested in the use of Philippine natural textiles. So we requested, or we selected a number of them to work with us on the designing and prototyping of 3 sets. Pardon the extensive discussion on the days, but what it really meant was, if we're looking at uniforms, typically you will have 4 of them. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Your Friday is the wash day, or when you have a free day, and then you have a gala wear. We wanted to make sure that if there's a special occasion, a special event, let's say you have visiting dignitaries, or you are visiting another country, or you're making a presentation, you have something more different from the usual that you can then use to wear. So we did a drawing of the lots. We had premier designer assignments for the Civil Service Commission, and for the NEDA, we have, Civil Service Commission, we have Albert Andrada. For NEDA, as well as for the Department of Foreign Affairs, JC Buendia. Next slide, please. We have PJ Aranadjor designing for the DOST. We have Rahul Laurel for the DTI, and Patrice Ramos Diaz designing for the Department of Tourism. Next slide, please. This was a meeting that was held with the professional fashion designers back in August 6. So from that time to this time, that was a lot of intensive work and meetings and coordinations that had to be undertaken. Next slide, please. The second part to this project was a call for competition for other design professionals and schools. And so we were able to garner 16 to 18 participants or contestants. And from this, there were 18 designs that were requested to be prototyped. 3 finalists are going to receive a prize later this afternoon when we make the runway presentation or the project presentation of the output of this particular exercise. So this design competition is now going to be for 2 sets of uniforms for the Wednesday and the Thursday of the week use of government agencies. Next slide, please. So just to share with you, we have the selection committee, which is composed of Ms. Ruth Canlas of the of the non-timber forest products exchange program. NTFP was our project partner who helped us to source some of the indigenous weaves or traditional textiles because they are very much steeped in working with the communities that produce our traditional fabrics. Ms. Rica Abad is Vice President for Administration of the University of the Philippines, based in Diliman. Of course, you know Jean Goldborn, founder of Silk Cocoon, and Ms. Kim Jones, founder of The Four. Next slide, please. In addition, we have Quinito Jose, or Quintin Pastrana, who is the founder of Library Renewal Partnership and a TV anchor for Money Matters, as well as Quintin Pastrana, who is in media, marketing, and is an advertising executive, and of course myself. But aside from that, we have representatives of the 6 national government agencies also participating in the selection process. Next slide, please. Just for reference, these were colors that were chosen for the practical application or practical use. This was really a selection on what would be representative of the NGA's particular needs. And so these were done in 75-25 cotton abaca and 75-25 cotton pineapple leaf. Next slide, please. Some of the materials were the weaves that we had originally targeted and proposed. These are the binacol from Ilocos Norte. Next slide, please. Gadang textiles from the Mountain Province, from the Paracelis. Next slide. The malongs coming from Lake Cebu in South Cotabato. Next slide. Inol fabrics from Maguindanao. Next slide. Hablon from Iloilo. Next slide, please. Piña fabrics from the Piña Mantra Group in Calibo, Aklan. Next slide, please. Okay, before you click that, I just wanted to say that the challenge here was how to incorporate the time frame. As the ladies in the table on my left can attest, weaving is not a very simple exercise. It requires time, it requires a lot of planning and a lot of coordination. So while we had proposed originally the materials that I had shown to you, they were not all readily available. There was no time to get them together. So we were challenged with what can be incorporated. So I just want to level the expectations of what you're going to see later on this afternoon. They are brilliant, they are very nice, but I wish we could have used more indigenous textile materials that we have with our communities. But yes, there were a lot of them that are and were still represented. So please, if I may have the next slide. So this was supposed to be the call for competition. This is a very modest attempt to encourage people to come forward and help us with how we can inspire people in government to take a look at what can be done with our Philippine tropical fabrics and traditional textiles. So we have provided a very, these are very modest prize monies to have that encouragement. But more than that, it was really the idea of being able to collaborate. Imagine if the government agency says that I would love to buy in. That is already going to nurture fantastic business opportunities, not just from the designer, the sewers, the weavers, the cutters, not just from them, but also from the people from whom we source the Philippine tropical fiber to begin with, the natural textile fiber. So, next slide please. So from rethinking the idea as a uniform design and prototyping project, we are looking to how we can then gear up and go forward as a Tela Pilipinas project. By this we mean that while we are not obligating or requiring the government, participating government agencies to really make use of what has been made available to them, if they do elect and vote to do it, you know that the supply is going to be very challenged, right? Those in the know would know that this is not readily available. Well, the PTRI is standing before you to tell you that we will make this possible. We know that our people are going to be extremely challenged because to begin with, we are not in manufacturing. But having said that, we believe and we understand that this is an opportunity for all of us to be able to stand together to come up with product that can really truly be of some economic help to our countrymen, as well as to the development of more textile opportunities for the Philippines. So by this we mean that we are very much willing to projectize any development going forward with the project, with the uniform projects. And I say this with the full confidence that we have the support of our DOST as well as our shared funding partners. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Sa inyo lahat. Last slide.